Horror movie fans are always eager to see the next horror movie that outperforms the previous ones that they've seen. The thrills that come with the scenes and the suspense in the movie have kept fans glued to their screens. A strong movie recommendation can definitely make a world of difference in your rating of the movie. Fortunately, for those who haven't seen them yet, we have assembled the best of them. Let's start this list with Torso, 1973. While there are a growing number of excellent foreign horror films coming out these days, there are also many international classics that should be viewed. Torso, a notable entry in the Italian giallo subgenre that has given us so many classics, is one such film. The main focus of the film was a murderer strangling college kids on campus. The killer was still present when several of the students decided to leave for a villa in order to avoid the threat. Next up is Audition, 1999. This Japanese film, one of the best obscure horror films of the 1990s, is directed by Takashi Miike. Shigeharu Aoyama, a widower, accepted to participate in a special audition procedure set up by his buddy in order to find him a new bride. Shigeharu fell in love with Asami Yamazaki after first meeting her, but Asami was far more mysterious and sinister than Shigeharu realized. Reddit user Wild Bob highlighted the magnificent imagery in the first half of the film, stating that he discovered he appreciated the film as a drama and that he nearly forgot what genre the picture was in until the second half of the movie, where things became gory, but it still retained its meaning. We also have The Backbone, 2001. In The Backbone, one of Guillermo del Toro's finest films, a 12-year-old boy named Carlos was placed in an all-boys orphanage and school after his father was killed in the Spanish Civil War. Soon after the institution's classes began, it became clear that its grounds are home to dangerous and supernatural mysteries. Carlos must deal with both the supernatural dread in front of him and the civil instability that his country went through at the moment, as Guillermo del Toro expertly crafts a historical horror drama. Another intriguing horror movie on the list is A Tale of Two Sisters, 2003. This film, directed by South Korean Ji-Woon Kim, combined terror from the supernatural and the everyday world. After they spent time in a psychiatric hospital, the two sisters were sent back home. They resided there with their father and his wife, their nasty and obnoxious stepmother. Even worse, the house started to experience haunting, which made it difficult for the sisters to heal emotionally. A horror movie fan said the movie accomplished so much with very little communication. This is a good addition to the watch list for individuals who want slow-burning films that evoke stronger emotions than conventional slasher pictures. Also, we have High Tension, 2005. The Hills Have Eyes and Crawl are two Hollywood horror films that Alexandre Aja directed, but High Tension, a vicious and gory French film, is where he first achieved fame. The film follows two female friends as they travel by car. However, they are forced to flee for their lives when a home invasion makes them the victim of a vicious killer. Others adore the grimy atmosphere and the scenes of excruciating suspense, despite the fact that some think the horror film's twist finale somewhat destroyed it. Next up is Rec, 2007. The Spanish horror film Rec is not just an outstanding example of the genre, but it is also a masterpiece of found footage. The story revolved around a video crew filming a fire service, responding to a call at an apartment building as a virus spreads there. The film made excellent use of the discovered footage style, providing some of the best scares in horror film history. When a fan initially watched this, he claimed to be terrified. Although American remakes and sequels followed, the first film still stands out as a masterpiece. The next movie is The Orphanage, 2007. The Orphanage, the directorial debut of Spanish filmmaker J.A. Bayona, told the tale of Laura, who visited the orphanage where she was raised in the hopes of converting it into a home for special needs children, along with her husband Carlos and their adopted son Simon. After a confrontation with Laura, Simon vanished, and Laura's quest for him revealed sinister truths about the orphanage's past. According to a fan, it was a movie that disturbed him. Some other fans praised The Orphanage as one of the best horror films about mourning and noted how poignant it is. Let the Right One In, 2008, comes up next on the list. Moving into Swedish territory, Thomas Alfredson directed the 2008 romantic horror film Let the Right One In. Oscar was a young boy who lived with his mother in Sweden and was regularly bullied at school. When Eli moved in next door, they became close friends, and Eli eventually revealed their disturbing connection to a string of grisly murders in the area. A fan claimed it was a beloved adaptation of The Old Vampire, while another claimed it addressed the consequences of a vampire entering the house without being invited, and that it was well-paced, captivating, and quite unsettling. Next is The Chaser, 2008. While many horror films leave the identity of the killer a mystery, The Chaser enjoyed itself by giving it away extremely early. The manager of a call girl business was the main character of the Korean thriller, and she was in a race against time to free one of the girls who was being kept captive by a vicious killer. A gripping cat-and-mouse plot is created by the tense and gory film. Additionally, it contains several horrifying plot turns, whose ferocity will astound viewers. It was referred to as an excellent South Korean serial killer movie by a fan. Next, Martyrs, 2008. This French horror film was directed by Pascal Laugier and is centered on Lucy and Anna, who embark on a violent journey to track down and punish those responsible for Lucy's kidnapping and torture when she was younger. Their investigation found a network of torturous practices used by a covert organization intent on using martyrs to learn secrets about the afterlife. Reddit user Trapped in Limbo described their viewing experience of the movie, where he said that the plot's twists and turns almost made him, the viewer, feel like he was put through some kind of torture. Another fan referred to Martyrs as the final exam you offer to horror movie enthusiasts. The horror film may only be seen once by the viewers because of how powerful and scary it is. Speaking of horror films, I Saw the 2010 is also a good one. Ji-woon, the National Intelligence Service agent, plotted revenge after his pregnant fiancée was killed by a serial killer, Jang Kyung-chul, in this Korean thriller directed by Kim. For those with weak stomachs, this movie is clearly on the gorier side of horror, and viewers should be informed that assault is depicted in the movie if that is particularly upsetting or triggering. Nevertheless, numerous fans applauded the film, with one who even made a comment stating that it was one of the best movies that he had seen. It is extremely beautiful and brutal. Choi Min-sik, who plays the serial killer, did an amazing job. For fans of Korean gore horror, it's a must-watch. And Goodnight Mommy, 2014 comes next. In this Austrian psychological horror film by Severin Fiala and Veronika Franz, she had face-altering plastic surgery, and they began to notice her peculiar and unusual conduct. In addition to having some of the scariest children in horror film history, Goodnight Mommy has an unsurpassed vibe. One fan said the fact that it defied his expectations pleased him and made him genuinely enjoy it. Part of what makes it fantastic for conversation between people who have seen it is the thought and theory-provoking aspect. Also, Train to Busan, 2016. It is a Korean film directed by Yoon Sang-ho. The movie satisfied the craving of everybody who enjoyed zombie movies. When a zombie apocalypse broke out, Seok-woo and his estranged daughter Suan were traveling by train. In order to get to Busan alive, the train's passengers battle for their lives. Train to Busan was likened to the best depiction of a World War Z tale by a fan. It is a very emotional film that features a few unusually moving passages for a horror film. Next up is The Wailing, 2016. The Wailing deserves to be counted among South Korea's top thriller and horror films of the 21st century. A fatal virus killed several residents of the little village where the movie was set. A police officer must find out what caused the illness, even if it is supernatural, after his daughter contracted it. A fan described The Wailing as a jaw-dropping film with chilling mystery and unexpected twists. It is unquestionably one that viewers will reflect on long after it is over. And the last for today is Tumbad, 2018. Rahi Anil Bava, an Indian director, created the historical horror film Tumbad, the story of the goddess of prosperity and the being Hastar, who rested in Tumbad after being rescued from the other gods and cannot be worshipped, was the foundation of Tumbad, which took place between 1947 and 1918. Vinayak, who was raised in Tumbad, was determined to use Hastar's fortune as a means of escaping poverty. What may have been a straightforward morality and greed tale is transformed into a stunning cinematic masterpiece. A horror movie fan wrote that it doesn't suit any subgenre that is usually seen in Hollywood, and that made it amazing. If you've not seen these horror movies, don't be left out. As a horror movie fan, you need to experience the thrills in these movies. As we are waiting to see new horror movies, let us know what you think of our selections. Subscribe and like. See you in the next video.